Just want to let you lot know that if you're watching this clip on the Fozcast YouTube channel, the full episode is now available to watch exclusively on Spotify, and it's free. Come on.
I think, particularly from my own point of view, things like sauna, the ice bath, those kind of things are a huge part of my daily routine. I think anyone who's played with me in the last 10 years will probably remember me from sitting in a sauna, because that's
recovery, mate. It's recovery. Yeah, it's proper, you got to do it.
It's physical and mental recovery, yeah. But it's definitely, that's probably the thing I do the most. That's the most, I do that religiously every single day, and I just feel much better for it.
You do hot and cold?
Yes.
Yeah, because we had Liam Ridgewell in last week as well. We've had a busy couple of weeks.
I was going to say, you had a few.
And he was talking about his sauna routine, wasn't he? Yeah. And he says how beneficial it is for his resting heart rate, didn't he? Yeah. He says 12 minutes. He does 12 minutes every day. Really interesting.
Gets the blood I do 2 times 18.
Cool. Do you? Yeah,
2 18s every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
And a little cold in between it as well?
It varies a little bit. So it'll either be cold in the morning and then after training sauna, and sometimes it'll be cold in between, or that varies a little bit.
And what is it for you with the benefits?
I don't know. I just feel better.
Yeah,
just feel a lot better. I couldn't tell you exactly how I feel better, but having done it, I just feel a lot better. I mean, at Anderlecht, I came to Anderlecht and they had a sauna that hadn't been used that much, and then I kind of got that up and running, and we ended up having we kind of had probably 8 players every day now after training, getting in there, and not just that, it helps. You just sit there and have a chat, and I think it's a great way to decompress after training. So you're both physically, mentally, you're just getting it out of your system and
fresh to go again.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Let's take you back to leaving Leicester City. Then, is Leicester your team, by the way? Do you know what I mean? If you look back on your career, would you say Leicester's your team?
I mean, I spent 11 years there and went through absolutely everything you could go through as a player and as a human. So, I definitely still follow Leicester closely.
In that first season then, when you left, so you went and signed for Nice, was it heartbreaking to watch from afar and see the demise of Leicester in that season? Because
it was tough.
If you just think to probably 7 years previous, you've won the Premier League. Only 2 or 3 years previous, you've won the FA Cup, Community Shield. And then they go and get relegated. How does that happen? How does a team like Leicester City get relegated?
I couldn't tell you. It was definitely tough watching. Being in France, and obviously we didn't play the same times as Leicester, so I could watch every game. And watching them struggle the way they did, that wasn't very nice. It was. It was. I don't really know what to say. I really didn't enjoy it.
Did you see it coming? Do you know? Because for me, you leaving was the catalyst for it, to be honest with you. No disrespect to the goalkeepers that were there, but when you've got somebody who's played for a club so long, is the embodiment of what that team and what that club stands for. The second you went, I just kind of thought, they're going to struggle here, You can't just replace a goalkeeper that you know is going to give you 7.5 out of 10 every single Saturday afternoon. You can't replace that.
No, I think it's not even about goalkeeping, because all goalkeepers are good. I heard you talk about it on the podcast. I think if you put every goalkeeper together in a session, we can all kind of do the same. It's about what you're giving to the team and the stability. I always talk about, particularly with goalkeeping, is stability. I don't want to be the goalkeeper that's seen. I want to be the goalkeeper exactly that was just there doing my job. It's not about being a 10 out of 10 one game and then you drop off to a 6. And it is exactly like you say about being a 7, 8 out of 10 every single game and no one really noticing you. And that the best compliment anyone can kind of pay me is that they don't notice me, because they just know I'm there.
It's expected.
It's expected. That's just what's expected.
Just doing your job.
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's just what is expected of me. But obviously behind the scenes, we lost a lot of leaders in those years. Yeah. That championship team was built on huge characters. You go through that whole team and the whole bench. It was huge characters, And we dealt with it slowly, you know, people retiring, people leaving, started with obviously with Riyadh going and N'Golo going. We kind of dealt with that in the end. You had Houthi leaving, Wes retiring, Danny Simpson leaving, and all these kind of guys all the time.
Yeah.
So that kind of core kept slowly leaving, and it was always difficult, but we found a way. And obviously, myself being one of those players that had been there for so long and knew the DNA of the club, it was really tough watching for sure.
When the call came from Nice, then that must have been one of the toughest footballing decisions you've ever had to make.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was a hard decision. It was a hard decision, and I think the great thing about the last few years, as strange as they may have been, it's a lot of learning.
Yeah. A
lot of learning, and I think for my future life, for my future career, it's been really good for me.
Good learning.
That I've learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about football, because obviously being in the same club for 11 years, you're in your little bubble. You don't really know what's going on outside those four walls. So yeah, I think the biggest learning is that if you are in the Premier League, don't leave.
Yeah.
It is the best league in the world, without any question. And it's easy to sit here with hindsight and say, but that the situation was what the situation was, and at that time that was the decision that was made. Would I have made it again? Probably not. But I've learned a lot from it.
3-year deal then, French Riviera. From the outside, it looks like it's unreal. Was it, when you got there, just like that, like say, nice coffee on the side of the, what's it called, harbour, is it? Just having is it like that?
I'd say it's one of the most beautiful places on earth. And in terms of lifestyle, I absolutely loved it. I'd move back there for sure. It is
after football, really.
Yeah, it's an incredible place to live. Great people, the most beautiful scenery you're ever going to find, and in that sense, it was incredible. But I just think I have grown up in British football, and the culture change was just it was very different to play in that. It was never any days off really, very, very few at least, and just a different way of approaching football. I mean, I came from a culture in Britain where Saturday, that was all that mattered, whereas it wasn't the game wasn't as important. There was a lot of politics. There was a lot of chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah.
A lot of things that weren't football related that all of a sudden you had to pay attention to. And me coming from a place where I'd been in my comfort zone for so long, to step out of that was really difficult.
Who sets that then? Who sets it that training is the most important thing? Does that come from the managers? Does it come from above?
I wouldn't know. When I arrived, my French wasn't that good, so it was difficult to understand. But it's better now, and I kind of understand it a little bit more. But I think that's just the way football is on the continent. It's a lot about training. I found the same in Anderlecht. It was training was really important. That you hit certain numbers and you do things a certain way in training.
But it didn't matter if you lose on the weekend.
It obviously matters, but it didn't. It wasn't the same as it was here, for example.
Yeah.
Here at least here, I say in Britain, I experienced players that didn't train during the week and went out and give absolutely everything, and that was all right.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that.
No.
That wouldn't be tolerated or accepted.
Thanks everybody for watching. We hope you enjoyed this clip of the Fozcast. If you would like to watch the full episode, it is now available exclusively on Spotify for free.